All right. Hello, hello. So, this is gonna be. I don't know what this is gonna be yet. This is just kind of a way to start practicing speaking and just getting better at speaking. Just talking about experiences, stories, or coding. Um, I'm just trying to improve on a lot of things. So I'll go into detail. I'll try to go into detail. I don't really have a plan. Um, what you're seeing on the screen is Obsidian. It's my note taking application. Um, so yeah, the idea of this is just to kind of, I guess, practice. I guess we can let's try to set some. So the goal of this is going to be maybe to try to set some sort of outline or plan, or maybe not. I mean, we're just kind of figuring stuff out right now. Because I don't have a plan going into this. I don't have any outline. I don't. I just turned on the. Just opened up OBS and started recording. But the idea, the main goal is just to get better at talking and talking about myself and talking about my career and talking about coding stuff. Um, to improve my overall interviewing skills and communication skills in the workplace and just for social interactions in general. It's something I've always struggled with. Just keeping a conversation going, keeping it interesting, and yeah, I've just always struggled with that. Like I'm usually the quiet person, the quiet friend in the group, the one that everybody always makes jokes about. That like, like oh, don't get them started talking. Um, okay, so what should I talk about on this on November 14th, 2025? So I tried to do one of these a while back too, and I only did one video. And on that one, I just started talking about my career in general. So I might try that. I guess we'll go career. What's the word? Biography? Yep. What's a biography? Is biography the thing where you write about yourself? Uh, career overview story? I don't know. We'll get these a lot more. I'm hoping as time goes on, I want to keep doing these once a day, and I'm hoping as time goes on, I'll be able to everything will just start falling into place. I'll be able to organize my thoughts better. I'll be able to just come up with things to talk about on the fly. So I'm hoping to see improvements, and these recordings are a way to just go back and see how much I've improved. So and hopefully I'll get better at like note. I don't know if I'm gonna keep taking notes in future iterations of this, but Maybe that'll improve also. But just an intro to whatever this is what we've done. And so career story. So I guess I'll start off with technology. Um, so throughout my life, I've always been interested in tech. I've liked like repairing phones, jailbreaking phones back in the day when that was popular. Um, so and I would at school I would repair. I would repair. I think I'd repair the phone screens at school also. And like any bug or any like sometimes you get issues with maybe your phone's being slow or yeah, just general issues people had with their phones or laptops. I think I would be the guy uh, that repaired them. So people would come to me and I would repair them and fix them and that was pretty cool. That was fun. I enjoyed that. It was a bit tedious, like the small screws on phones and stuff and laptops, and you just kind of had to get in there. They're really small parts, so it's a bit tedious and annoying, but it was interesting, and that's what kind of got me into tech. And then when I eventually got a laptop, I would I was big into video games, and I still am. So I've always been into video games, but I was even with the Xbox, I would try to I would find mods and I would mod the my profile in the games. I've been banned a couple times from my profiles on Xbox um, because I was modding, and I remember playing Minecraft as well. I would install mods, Minecraft mods, and at one point I was also coding. This was after I got into coding, but I was also coding like my own Minecraft mods. So yeah, I got out of high school and I decided to go into. I wanted to do like a computer technician or network admin type type of work. So I went to a technical college for a computer repair technician. It was mostly like IT. Um, so I got my A plus certification, got the Network Plus, Security Plus. Also got some Microsoft Word and Excel certifications. So that was pretty fun. We learned about networking and Ethernet. We terminated some Ethernet cables. Um, Learned about networking and like IPv4, IPv6. I used to know a lot about that stuff, but it's been a while since I've touched that because so once I got out of TCAT, I got a my first tech job was just a, a tech support position where we were just resetting passwords. It was pretty simple work. Um, People would call in. They didn't have they forgot their password or they were having trouble signing in or setting up their account. It was I think it was like a health care application, or maybe it was their job portal, and can't remember exactly, but they just it was just a portal for like their like job or health information. Um, and they would call in if they had issues logging in or they forgot their password. That's where we would come in and help them get logged in, do their security questions, or reset their password. So that was my first tech job out of the technical college for IT. And then that was pretty easy and that was pretty enjoyable because the call volume was very low, so there wasn't a lot of we got like maybe like 2 to 3 customers a day, so it was pretty it was a pretty easy job. And then my next tech job was another tech support for a company that does and I'm purposely not uh, saying the company names or like places. Um, I don't know why I don't think anybody's gonna watch this. But yeah, I might change that. I haven't thought about that really. It's just the norm that people don't go into too much identifiable information when you're talking online. So it's just kind of just jumping on just getting influenced by that. I guess I don't know if it's called jumping on the bandwagon. Um, I don't know. As you can tell, this is to improve my communication. So, so, anyways, I was so yeah. My second tech job was yeah, tech support for a company that does they had like business center computers, like computers where you can go in and it was a lockdown interface. It was like Windows 10 or Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. But they had a screen up that was like locked down, and you had to do like a command to pull the screen down, and you could like see the actual windows. But that screen is like it's like a portal where they can go in and browse the internet, visit like hotel sites or visit airline sites to print their boarding pass. These PCs, they would put them in hotels. So just imagine like a business center at a hotel. They have their PC that you can go in and browse and do like regular, I guess, business stuff. So that um, they would with the customers would call in. They if they had like issues with that PC, like it wasn't connecting to the internet, or there's some problem with the screen or some problem with the interface with the company's software that was on that machine. So they would call in and we would walk through the customer. We would walk the customer through. Sometimes we would have them unplug the the router to like reset the Wi-Fi or unplug and replug the internet. And try to get the computer online so that we can remote in, because we had a remote software to remote into the computer and then fix any issue we could there. So it was a lot easier when the computer was online. We could go in and like fix things and see what's actually going on. But when the internet was having issues, we would have to. It was a lot more difficult because we would have to walk the customer over to the computer, put in some commands on the keyboard to like bring down the UI so that we can get to the network settings and get IP address information and like even ISP information. Sometimes we would we wouldn't be able to fix the internet. So we would call the internet service provider to figure out what was going on. Sometimes they like there were some issues on their end that they could resolve, and sometimes internet was down, and we had to like call back, or the customer would have to call back. Um, and we would support like Windows machines, like Android machines, or like Android tablets, Apple desktops, Apple tablets, iPads, all sorts of devices, and all sorts of like routers, like different types of routers have different interfaces. So there's different ways of getting in there. There's the IP addresses in different places. Um, there was a lot of learning, like the hardware and the software of different machines. Um, yeah, so the actual job was enjoyable, but what was not so enjoyable was like the experience with the customer. Like because a lot of time these people, the people calling in, like they have their own job, and and they're having to deal with their own customers complaining about the computers not working. Um, so there's tension there where the customer is just they're just frustrated. They're frustrated because they don't know about computers. Um, they paid for a service. They thought, like most people thought, like okay, we'll pay for this, and like they'll deal with everything. They'll get it working. They'll deal with everything, and we don't have to worry about it. But a lot of times that's just not the case because the PC is on their site. So like most of the time, if the computer's online, it's fine. We can log in and do everything ourselves. But a lot of times, there's just issues connecting the computer, and even when they got the new computer, they have to call in to get the computer connected to the internet and or the Wi-Fi, and there's just so many factors for issues to occur there. So a lot of times these customers are calling in. They're already frustrated. They're angry because their customers are also already they're frustrated and they're angry and they're complaining to them, so they call in and we receive that, and like when you encounter so many of those a day, it kind of it's just not a good experience to try to calm someone down and tell them everything's gonna be okay, even though sometimes you can't resolve the issue, and you just kind of and a lot of times like you get issues where you don't know what's going on, you don't know what the solution is, and sometimes there is no solution. You just kind of have to talk your way into like calming them down, and like you want to avoid situations where they want to speak to the manager because you want to um like not like not everybody can speak to the manager. It's just there's just one manager, so you kind of want to resolve that yourself without them having to go to the manager. But there are times when you have to send them to the manager. So all of that experience is kind of it's just not a it's like tech support is just not a great experience in my opinion. Um, I don't know, maybe there's some people out there that enjoy that, um, but yeah, it just wasn't for me. So, but during that time, I think an interesting thing that I found during that time was um, coding because that like as someone supporting those devices and the our custom interface that was on those computers, um, sometimes we'd have to troubleshoot the actual interface, and like we could see the code, and I think the early ones had a lot of like HTML and CSS that you could go into the application files, and uh, some of the old ones had some issues where we would have to go into the actual HTML and CSS and like do some fixes there. And a lot of times we would just like just copy and paste a known fix. But sometimes it like that didn't work. So there was some opportunity there to go into the code and like see what all is going on there. And like in the beginning, when I started seeing that sort of stuff, I it was just like all gibberish, as you could imagine, because I didn't know. I knew about coding, but I wasn't that into it. But like as I was working with it and I was like reading through the HTML, um, and like the HTML CSS is, I think that's the main thing we saw. There was also other instances that I'll get into later where I was doing some like Excel stuff, and like even the Excel formulas and commands are also pretty cool. But with the HTML and CSS from the software on the computers, like the more I was getting into that, I was starting to familiarize myself with some of that. And I would like recognize things, and like there were a couple situations where or where we had some issues that we didn't have a fix for, and I was finding some of those solutions and like reporting that, and then that would get like packaged up, and then we would have that solution for other times we would encounter those scenarios. And I think that's where kind of the spark started, because I think I enjoyed that so much that I started getting into it. I started learning more about it. Um, I got some HTML and CSS books. I got some JavaScript. Oh, JavaScript was also a thing that I saw in that space when I was getting into the code. Um, so I got some of those books and I was reading over it. I was learning, and at home on my laptop I was creating like very basic. This was like around I guess 2018, 2019, 2017, somewhere around there. There was no ChatGPT. There was no AI. There was none of this AI software. It was all just I didn't even know about Stack Overflow or any of that. It was probably around back then. Um, but so the point I'm trying to make there is it was all just raw HTML, CSS. I think I was just doing it in a notepad. I can't remember if I knew about IDEs at that point. But when I got those books, I was on my laptop. I was creating just very basic, very raw, like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript interfaces where I could run my HTML file, and it would call my JavaScript, and I was adding buttons on the screen, and I was kind of like mocking and uh, a website where you click on make like a nav bar, click on something, it would take me to a different page. Um, so I was doing all this stuff, and I was learning about it because it was just so enjoyable. But it was very slow. I think my improvement was very slow. Um, so then at one point I guess I took the plunge, and I was looking for like I was looking for somewhere to learn, a school to teach me that stuff. So I was looking online, and I found a place like a in-person boot camp. And this was pre 2020 pre-pandemic, so we still had those those options, a lot of those options locally. So I found a place that was an in-person boot camp. It was very early on in its I think it was early on in its life, this boot camp. So it was but it was in a place where it was very well structured. It had a lot of I think it had a good reputation. I think I heard about it from somebody, like another colleague in the tech. So I did some research on it. It looked nice. The website was nice. I think it did a good job of showing like what all they were gonna teach you, like the curriculum, and like showing like the overall, like they were able to like show kind of the experience because there's like pictures of the classes, and it all looked very like it was a field that I didn't like like I was in tech, but I didn't know like a lot about coding and software development in general. So it was a very unknown field, but they did a good job of like making it um enticing. Like it looked fun, um it looked enjoyable. It looked like what I was in like what I was feeling when I was coding, like what I was enjoying. Like I think they captured that very well. And I'm saying that because I think if they didn't have that, I probably wouldn't have like taken the leap and like enrolled. So yeah, so I ended up enrolling. I did they had like a jumpstart thing where it was you took like a month of classes to see if you enjoyed it before like applying for the real thing. And like this jumpstart, it would like if you go to the actual you actually enroll, like they will subtract that from your overall tuition. So it was pretty much a free class if you were planning on enrolling. If you ended up enrolling anyways, it was a free thing. So I did it, met some people there, and I really enjoyed that time. So I ended up enrolling. Um, the class was super enjoyable. The people that I met were super like it was like the best experience I think that I've ever had in a like in a school setting. Um, and it was people from all sorts of careers coming in. Like we had like I guess nurses, or I don't know if, like, yeah, no, like nurses, um people from like I guess finance, or just like in any field that you can think of. I think there were people there that they were just tired of their field. They switched to coding, and we were all like enjoying what we were learning. And there were cases of some people that I guess didn't enjoy it um as much, and we saw that in people like dropping out. So there was that there. I mean, coding's not for everybody, but for me, it was like the most enjoyable experience I've ever had. Um, so I'm really thankful uh, for that time, and I'm really thankful for this school. Although now it's kind of it's kind of evolved into kind of like a I don't know like at this point in time, but like um there was a time where like coding and like software development in general like blew up, and everybody was trying to get in on it. Everybody was learning about it. Everybody wanted to, because at the time it was a simple thing to uh just learn the basics, and you could get a well paying job. at the time, like pre-pandemic era. Uh, so and I think people started realizing that, and like everybody started learning and started trying to come into the field. Um, the problem with that was we know like post pandemic there were layoffs, and like there were tons of layoffs there, and there were more people looking for jobs than there were jobs available, it seemed like, and it still feels that way because of that. And the problem with this school is that they like upped their classes, and they're like they were pumping out like developers, and like it was fine to a point, but like we got to a point post pandemic that there were just too many layoffs, there were too many developers, there were not enough jobs, and they kept pumping out developers, and like a lot of these people cannot find jobs. So that's the problem with it at this point, and also with the AI coming out, and all the basics kind of just like the bar was raised for being a software developer. You couldn't just learn the basics as we were uh, pre-pandemic and do the bare minimum and find a job. Like that wasn't happening anymore because the bar got raised when uh, when AI came out. um, AI is not replacing jobs. It's not like this magical thing that can just replace software developers. But it did raise the bar where if you want to be a developer now, you have to put in a lot more work and a lot more time. Um, so at this point, I guess it's not just that school, but I guess any boot camp is just not. It's not. It's not enough to just go to a boot camp anymore. Um, so at that point, I think another thing that made it enjoyable is kind of the field and like the overall environment, or I guess atmosphere of the field of software development, where it was just a thing that was everybody wanted in. So you were in a place, you were in a school learning about this stuff that was very it was very enjoyable. It's a problem solving thing, and the you mostly knew, like when I was in school, I had like I wasn't worried about finding a job. I kind of knew that I was gonna get a job. Um, there wasn't this fear that there is now. Like I think if I lost my job, um, I'm kind of there's a little bit of fear if I lost my job, that 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 I would find another one in a fairly like short amount of time. I think I would struggle finding a good developer job now with all my experience, as opposed to like being a beginner back then. So so I think that aspect of it also made it super enjoyable. It was a very open field that would just take in beginners and like teach them and get them going. But like now, I don't think there's a like if you go to a boot camp nowadays, today, I don't think there's that same feeling, because there's all this talk online about the job market just being like uh, the job market is just really rough. The job market is broken, and it's just hard. it's hard to find a job, and everybody's talking about that. Um, so yeah, that's a thing. But anyways, right before I graduated, I was able to find a developer job, and that's what I'm doing now. I learned C Sharp, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, SQL, and then on my own I did some Python. I'm learning about Docker. I'm learning about did a little bit of Java. I've created my own applications, my own personal applications. I've did some AI agents, so it's all like the enjoyment is still there. Like you get to a point where uh, you're kind of slowed down though. You get to a point where you kind of slow down the enjoyment. It's not as much as it was back then, but the problem solving and the overall experience, the enjoyable experience is still there. So I'm really thankful for this, for the opportunity that I have to work in this field and to be in it, to be able to get in it before all that stuff happened about the layoffs and the yeah. So that's my career story. I didn't do any notes. I don't know if that'll improve over time. We'll see. I'm just kind of doing this also as an experimentation to get better at communicating and talking in general. Um, yeah, so I think I'll leave it there. Next time I'll try to do webcam, so I think that'll help see my gestures and try to improve on that as well. Um, yep. But that's it. Thanks for tuning in. If this goes somewhere public, um, yep. Catch y'all later.